Two. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday Notary Titans. My name is Bill Soroka, founder of NotaryCoach.com and the Sign and Thrive Notary Training Course and Community. And this is Tuesday Notary Titans with my fellow Titans, Carol Ray, founder of Notary to Pro. Carol, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Bill and I celebrated our 57th wedding anniversary while we were gone.
Awesome. Congratulations. It's amazing. You don't see that too often anymore. So congratulations. I love it. And thank you for having the what you're excited about all set and ready. Anything else going on that you'd like to share with the group?
No, just that we've been hunkered in. No going anywhere, going to grocery stores that will come by curbside or getting them delivered. How's about everybody else? Everybody taking care of themselves? How about you, Bill? What you been doing?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I have been on vacation for 2 weeks. I had an epic road trip that was so refreshing. I saw 9 states and it was all about seclusion. So it was really kind of nice to be able to still get out and travel and still be safe and isolated during these crazy times, but it's exactly what I needed. The road calls me all the time and I'm so glad I got to do it. What I'm excited about today, though, is this is the 8th month anniversary today of launching or releasing Sign and Thrive, the book. And I just wanted to say thank you to everybody who's on this call because of you guys, that has stayed an Amazon bestseller every single day because they do it daily since its release. So thank you so much for all the support and the kind words and the great reviews out there too. That's been pretty amazing. So that's at the end today, we're going to, I'll give away a few books too. So I'm going to put the registration link for our prizes out there. So I'm definitely going to give away some copies of, the autographed copies of Sign and Thrive and Personally Inscribed. So just register for that if you'd like to do that. We'll probably come up with some other great prizes as well. Guys, remember to keep yourself on mute unless you're asked not to. I cannot, for some reason, mute her. And then Laura is our other co-host, Laura Biewer from CoachMeLaura.com. Hello and welcome.
Hi.
How's it going? What are you excited about? How was your 2 weeks?
My 2 weeks were great. I got to practice a few things that I want to be different in my life, and I liked it. So I really enjoyed having those 3 months that I haven't been teaching. Now I'm back and teaching again. Although I love the teaching, so I'm glad I'm back, it was nice to have those 3 months to not have to do that, not have to travel around. And in the meantime, I have been practicing not doing the work and referring out most of my jobs to my network, to people that I know that are in that area that need the work. And that's been wonderful because it's allowed me to take on, different projects. And the idea is, when I say yes to this, then what am I saying no to? So I need to say no to a few things so that I can say yes to some other things to take me forward. So that's what I'm working on, and it makes me very happy.
I love that. And that's such a huge part of the journey. So thank you for sharing that with us. All right, guys, let's dive in. I know we've been away for 3 weeks. I'm sure we've got some great questions, maybe some challenges, and maybe some big wins to share too. Just so you know, this time is for you. We welcome those types of conversation. The best way to get heard is to raise your hand. If you don't know how to raise your hand, Laura, can you coach them how to do so?
God, it's been 2 weeks. Go to the participants page. And after you see the participants list, you'll see on the left invite, in the middle mute, and on the, it was the left, and on the right is raise hand. Click on that raise hand, and that will get you with a raised hand.
That's how we'll do it. Guys, if you're not being called on, please keep yourself on mute. I want to give you the control to be able to mute yourselves and mute out. So it only works if we all work together and mute ourselves when we're not being engaged in conversation. The other rule, you guys know the rule. If the camera's on, your clothes are on. Remember, everybody in the house needs to know that you have a camera on if that's going on, so nobody walks behind you undressed or anything like that. That does happen on occasion. So just be aware of that. And let's get down to it. All right, Sebastian, I know this, your hand has been up. You're from Texas. Thank you for your patience. What's going on?
Hey, Bill. Thanks for all of this. Thanks for coming back. I hope everyone had a good vacation and whatnot.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I had a question, which I think I already know the answer to, but just in case, if there is a witness involved in your signing, do you as a notary have to verify if they're an uninterested party if you did not have to provide that witness? I'm assuming that would automatically be a no, that's not your job, but I just wanted some clarification.
Yeah, definitely. Laura, would you mind taking the lead on this one?
Yeah, you know what? That's not going to be addressed in the law anywhere, but I would tell you standard of care is what I would lean back to, which is why not ask? As a witness, are you impartial to this transaction? Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. I usually, Sebastian, whenever I do it, I have to verify their identity usually, and I have to make sure that they're over the age of 18. So I use that as part of the conversation just to make sure they are a completely uninterested party, and it usually is no big deal. You'll also find out that sometimes they are, sometimes they're a child of the person signing, so they're maybe a direct beneficiary. So we can address that right in the beginning.
Okay, thank you.
And what Bill's saying is if you're having to notarize, obviously you're going to have that, the oath you give them should include, and you're impartial. But sometimes we have just document witnesses that aren't really notary witnesses. And those are the ones I'm referring to. If they've provided some other witness, I am going to say, okay, do you have any interest in the document, even though I'm not required.
Yeah, I had a signing like that in which the signer was from Georgia and they had to provide a witness. And I really wasn't sure. I mean, I identified the witness, but I wasn't, at the time I didn't think about whether they were an interested party or not. And of course it was a real estate transaction. So I thought about that afterwards, which I should have probably caught that beforehand, but that was just an interesting thing that came up recently. And I was just kind of curious about that. Thank you guys.
Great question, Sebastian. Thank you. Gloria, thanks for your patience. You want to unmute and ask your question?
Yeah, hi Bill, how are you?
Fantastic, thanks.
Good. Hey, I wanted to share an experience I had about a week ago. It was a very difficult one. I had 6 signers were spread out along the table in couples, and I tried to keep track of them.
Yeah.
It was a bilingual presentation, which made it more difficult.
Wow.
And then only 2 of them signed on the note. The others all were signing on deeds. So I had to watch that paperwork like a hawk. And as we were going through, the papers are flying back and forth across the table. One's asking questions and then the other 2 are sharing. And to focus on that was so hard. But anyway, what I did is I really practiced the recheck routine. I rechecked and rechecked that paperwork. And would you believe the 5th time that I checked them, I found 2 errors. That's how fast it can happen. So I, went back and got them fixed. And had to count initials, 6 little initials on each page, everything. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's been over a week, and I guess everything's okay because I haven't heard back. So I just wanted to share with people that please check, and recheck.
I love that, Gloria. Thank you for sharing that experience too, because you will run into signings like that. And I do quite a few, like I've had some with 10. There was 5 couples buying a big home that they were going to use as their own personal timeshare, right? Where each family got some time on it. Mm-hmm. But those are the times when mistakes can really happen because it's almost chaotic at the table. And that's why it's so important to take gentle control. Carol talks about gentle control. Laura talks about gentle control all the time. So you tell them where to sit and how this flow is going to happen. And they tend to really appreciate that too. And then of course, always check those documents. Love it. Yeah. Thank you, Gloria.
Okay, thank you.
You bet. Mike Howard, thank you for raising your hand. What's going on?
So I had an interesting signing last night. I wanted to get y'all's opinion. It was through SnapDocs, and it said it was a purchase, and I got the documents, exactly right a little under 2 hours before the signing, and there was no CD, and it was listed as a purchase, so I didn't think anything about it, and then I got to the signing, and as I'm talking with the borrower, I said, oh, well, congratulations on the purchase of your property. And it turns out it was a refinance, and there was no, obviously there was no closing disclosure, as I said, but then there was no right to cancel in the packet. And then to complicate the situation even further, the they required 2 forms of ID, and the second form that they had was a military ID. So I told them, I'm sorry, I can't take this as a copy. Here's a fax number where you can give the lenders the appropriate secondary form of ID. But the fact that there was no right to cancel, should I have done something differently? Should I have stopped the signing? And she told me she did things electronically, and she pulled it up, and there was no right to cancel. And it was a very odd signing.
That is very strange, but also it's okay to check in with the closing agent or the lender, but remember that if she's refinancing with her current lender, the right to cancel is not mandated. So it's not a requirement. Sometimes they'll include it anyway, just for additional protection, but it may not have been a requirement. So maybe they just did it electronically. Laura, Carol, do you have any feedback on anything like that?
Yeah, I was going to say the same thing, Bill, is I would check in to make sure it's not that situation. Because I have had it where they said, oh, we don't need it because they're doing streamline back with their own lender. But I don't know that unless I check.
Right.
I just got back in. My internet went out.
Oh, gotcha. No worries.
It's bad.
Yeah, no worries. So Mike, I think you handled it just the way you could. You could definitely follow up, but sometimes these signings are happen at night and there's not a whole lot you can do. So really we have to trust the package. You know, we can't create documents. We can't decide for the lender what to put in there or not. So you just do the best you can with what you've got. Thanks for sharing that with us. Tammy W., thank you for being here. Would you like to unmute and ask your question?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Hi, I have a question. I had a debt resolution that I did recently. Well, it didn't go through. And it turns out that the person, his ID was expired. And here in Virginia, you know, DMVs are closed and you have to make an appointment. And he had an appointment pending. So I was asking the gentleman, I called the agency, the contracting agency, asking them how they would like for me to proceed with the process. And they just kept putting it back on me, saying that it's up to me whether or not I want to proceed if his ID is expired. There was a power of attorney in there, and they said they were going to call me back. So then they called me back and said, well, because the power of attorney needs to be signed and it has to have a valid ID, then I shouldn't proceed. Either way, the gentleman didn't want to proceed because he didn't like some of the terms anyway. But I was just wondering, is it normal for them to constantly put it back on a notary to say it's up to you if you want to take the ID?
Yeah, great question, Tammy. Thanks for bringing this up. So yes, absolutely. It's 100% the notary's responsibility to know what we can legally do and what we legally cannot do. And I will guarantee you too that lenders, escrow officers, and debt resolution companies for sure are going to push the limits on that. And they're going to tell you, well, this notary always does it, or this notary in this state always does that, so you can proceed. So you have to understand whether or not your state will allow it. And right now there's executive orders, right, Laura? There's executive orders that have extended, they opened up rules that said, hey, if your license expired during COVID-19, you might be able to, it still may work as valid ID. Right. So it is your responsibility to know that in certain states, exactly.
Right. It may or may not work in Virginia. You would need to check the emergency order for your particular state.
Yep, exactly. So yeah, that will, and even escrow, like there's this myth that escrow officers and the people that are notaries that have been notaries for 30 years, that they know all the rules and what they can and cannot do, but that's not the case. So you have to own it. You have to know what you can and can't do on your own.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah, great question, Tammy. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, Crystal, you want to unmute and ask your question?
Yes, I do.
All right, Crystal.
I had my first notary project on last Tuesday, 1 week for today. And I tried to do some research on it beforehand, and I talked with her on the phone. This was a physician at one of our hospitals here, and she was doing the Federation Credentials Verification System and those forms. So I became familiar with them a little bit. I found the forms online, so I thought I was all set, ready to go, knew where to sign, knew it had to be a jurat and all of that. And then when I got there, the two forms had really detailed information as far as where I should stamp my stamp. On one page, it said I should stamp so that I could capture both. These papers had a picture of her, and a little, I guess, a 2x2, like you would have in your travel thing.
Yeah.
So it said I should capture some of the picture and some of her signature. And it was a small space, and I had to be very, very detailed, but I'm not sure, am I supposed to do that? Because it wasn't near my signature. And then another form said that I should place my stamp at the bottom and capture the bottom of her picture. But the picture that she had, if I did do it, it kind of cut off half of her face. And so that was it was stressful for me. It really was, because I know that I had not heard any conversation about pictures and notarizing on half the picture and half the signature and all of that. So have anyone had any experience with those?
Laura, have you heard of anything like this?
Yeah, we have. We get that on the hotline. And it's state. It depends on your state. I can tell you in the state of California, the law specifically addresses this, that your signature and your stamp must be logically associated together, number one. And then it says you may not affix your seal of office onto any printed material. So we have two different things that tell us we can't do those kinds of things. However, you need to look at your own state law around the seal. That's where you'll find it. So look for the seal and see if there's anything that says where the seal is supposed to go, such as logically associated with the signature, or see if it says do not affix the seal over any printed material. If you don't have those restrictions on you, then you would be able to do it. So you have to see what the law says you're allowed to do.
Okay, and I did go back to my handbook because I walked out of there kind of shaking. And so I did go back, and I didn't see anything particularly talking about that. So I'll go back through it again and see, but.
Well, that's what I would look for. If there's nothing there prohibiting it, then you can do it. And I'm just giving you some example of how in my state, they specifically tell me I'm prohibited.
And then Laura, if she happens to be in a state where there's no specific language, would you take extra notes in your journal about what you did?
Yes, I would. And the additional information, I'd write instructions, document instructions to place seal over partially over the photo.
Okay. And another question, when I got there, she had a birth certificate. And I think I kind of, I text, and some of you were very helpful. She had a birth certificate and she needed to send it with her documentation. And I know that my Virginia directions or handbook says that we're not to, she wanted me to notarize it, that we're not to certify true copies of any vitals records. But then at the bottom in a paragraph, it says the Commonwealth of Virginia is the first state in the country to authorize the verification of fact as a notarial power. And it talks about vital records. So I was kind of confused. I didn't notarize it. I just didn't know what to do because I was reading and it sounded like it was two different things. So I'm not sure what a fact as a notarial power. This involves a notary directly assessing public or vital records to confirm or validate a signer's identity credentials or to confirm facts about an individual's identity or authorization.
Yeah, that's a tough one, Crystal. I think this one might be better for a one-on-one coaching call or a call to the NNA hotline on that. Are you okay with that?
Oh, sure.
That's
sure,
so
no
specific.
problem.
Yeah, and that's an adventure about general notary work sometimes. You just never know what's going to walk in the door sometimes.
I know.
All right. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thank you.
All right. Paula Klein, thank you for your patience. I see you have 2 questions for us. Oh, hold on. Can you unmute yourself? There you go.
I was unmuting the wrong person. Okay, my question is a little bit different. I'm a newbie. and I've been doing this part-time. I've been in the in the mortgage industry for quite a long time, and I've got to get out. My question to everybody here who's been doing this longer than I have, how do you transfer from doing this part-time? I'm doing a lot of estate attorney work and I'm really enjoying it. Easy, really easy, love it, love the estate attorneys. How do I go from doing this part-time to transitioning full-time? How do I do it?
I love this question, and I encourage anybody who's on the call who has strategies or thoughts on this, please type it into the chat window so Paula can see that. And then I would love, just real quick, maybe Carol, if you're available, can you maybe give some guidelines or some mileposts or just a general advice? That's what Paula can do to transition to full-time. If Carol's still here. Carol, are you here?
Muted. She's muted.
Oh, where is she?
Yeah, sorry.
Oh, there she goes. Hi.
Yeah, and I may lose internet. I'm so sorry. Paula, are you working now?
I am. I'm in the mortgage side of, I know all these loan doc things because unfortunately I'm on that end. I do wholesale. I
But
hate
you're
it.
working now?
I hate every ounce of this and have for many years. But I love the notary stuff. It's a lot of fun. I'm enjoying it. I just want to get out so that I can get rid of that end of it and make a living full-time doing this. And my question to you is, I mean, I've gone out prior to this. I've dropped off all my things to escrow companies and title companies. I've called everybody I know. I've gone to some of the lenders. I've been doing that, but it's not like catching fire like I would like it to. So I don't have to
Right now, if you're working, Paula, if you're out there working, despite COVID and you're taking good care of yourself, this is probably the greatest time ever that those notaries who are choosing to work are going from part-time to full-time. I have several students, a handful of students, that are making unbelievable amount of money. But one of the secrets is right now, if you're going to be working, don't overcharge people because they're going to remember that you've gouged them. I'm telling everybody this. If you're working, be reasonable, do your job as if it was just an everyday thing. Don't take advantage of these companies because they'll appreciate that later on. You'll start to build relationships. Now is a really good time, but I know a lot of people like my daughter, who, by the way, I am excited. She is now working full-time with us at Notary to Pro, but she's not worked for several months because I'm 77, my husband's 82, and she didn't want to take a chance of having us exposed to COVID. But it's a great time now. Build relationships.
How do you do that? My question is, how do you do the transition? How do I get out there and get my name out there that I'm like fantastic?
It's mostly just doing the work, signing up for all these great companies, and you're going to get work right now. I don't know what you've been doing, and I don't know how many people are working out there now, but I can tell you that our students, the 20 or 25% of the students that are working. I mean, we're talking 6, 7, 8 signings a day.
Yeah.
So
yes.
Just getting signed up. Yeah, just sign up with companies and follow up. And when they give you a decent signing, take it, do your best, don't overcharge, and follow up, and the work will come. I mean, that's the only suggestion that I have.
No, I love it. Well, so Paula, the cool thing about this is the strategy that Carol teaches, the strategy that I teach, the strategy that Laura teach, you are perfect for it. Very few people just drop everything and jump into this business and are able to go full time. It's tailored to people who kind of dip their toes in, then they love it, they start going full time, and then they're like, I want to do this. This is what I want to do, and they transition full time. So if you've read Sign and Thrive, if you participated in Notary to Pro, those exact steps, if you follow those, and just like Carol said, you sign up with the signing companies, And even though we say 100 signing companies, these days you don't need that many. And then the volume is,
Oh, yeah.
it's off the charts right now. So you're going to get to a point where you're going to find the companies that you love to work with and they love to work with you. And you're also, because one of the big fears is people's like, well, I don't want to say no. So they're, they're like, I'm not going to sign up to 100 companies and I want to say no. Forget about that. Sign up and say no, because what you need right now is data to give you confidence that it's okay to walk away from your job. And if you on a Friday look back and say, well, I turned down $2,500 this week in business, in signings. Did I make $2,500 this week in my job? No. Then you have data to make a decision. Then you can say, okay, now I've got, $5,000, $6,000 saved up. Maybe I have 10,000. I have a few months cushion, so I'm not stressed out and in desperation mode as I move forward, but I know how many signings are coming across the table, and then you can decide to make that leap. Does that sound okay, Paula? Does that help? Excellent. Laura, did you have any other tips that Carol and I missed on that one?
No, I think you're good.
All right, sweet. Great question, Paula. Thank you. You had a second one as well. Do you want to? Nope, that was good. All right, we got it. Thank you. Jeanine, thank you for your patience. What's going on? How can we help? You have to, there you go.
Everybody, can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound kind of far away, but we can hear you.
Okay, I'll come closer to the computer. I just want to say I'm really appreciative to all of you all, and definitely this has been a tremendous help to me. Lately, because I live in Delville, Alabama, I'm near the military base. So lately what's been happening is I have been getting an influx, and believe me when I tell you, influx of a lot of military people needing notaries, which is a good thing. And what's interesting that I noticed is that some of the people that I'm getting, it's not just basic notary stuff. I noticed, and I'm really surprised to see this by me being in what's called the attorney state, if I'm saying that correctly. Okay. What I've noticed is they have documents that normally you would think that you would sit through with their attorney or something like that. But in this case, I was just surprised to see this. I've been getting closing documents, reverse mortgage, and what's interesting is when they receive these packages, the people who send them the information, they have these little tab stickers pointing where I need to stamp and all this other stuff. So I noticed with that, I know someone has said, I thought I heard someone say it, and I stand to be corrected, with the acceptable ID, I know that the driver's license, state ID and whatnot, and passport, and I thought I heard someone say military ID is not acceptable, but I've been accepting that quite a bit because it's got, their information and has a picture of themselves, as it states, as long as there's a picture and, their information and all that's on there. Yeah, and whatnot. So I just want to make sure that I'm on the right page as far as that is concerned. The other,
Jeanine, do you mind if can we just pause for a second there so we can address what you've already shared? That was great. So first of all, awesome on the military and the volume of business. I think across the board we are. And just to address, number one, obviously we always want to make sure that we're in integrity and compliance with the law. But also when you're in an attorney state, there's very often times attorneys that are they're pulling the strings behind the scene. They're drafting the documents, they're reviewing the documents. They're the ones coordinating the closing. So they are actively involved in the closing, and they do hire out independent contractors like you and me to close or collect signatures on their signing. So that's pretty common. And then as far as the military ID goes, what Mike was talking about earlier was that we cannot, by federal law, make photocopies of a military ID. So that's what he was referring to. So if you have, you can accept, as long as your state allows it, you can take. No, no. Oh, step on it. Hold on. Step on it. It's There we go. Sorry, guys. Remember to keep yourself on mute if you're not being asking your question. So, Jeanine, does that help clarify that part?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much.
You
I
bet.
got
Was there a second part of the question?
Yes, I got two more, and I'm gonna make it quick because I know other people have questions. Now I have the printer, the dual printer. Okay.
Yep.
What I'm noticing is some companies have been reaching out to me that they found me on the the NNA thing, and some of them be wanting to do fax backs and scan backs and all that. The only problem with that is I'm not able to do that per se. So is there a way I can do that without having to have the actual devices? Was one of the things. And
Let's stop right there, Jeanine. Hold on one second. Let's address that question first. So yes, there's if on YouTube, I have a video on 3 different scanners that I love to use. But if you're looking for a real quick cell phone app solution, Tiny Scanner Pro, it's $5, and that's the professional. So you can take images of documents and it converts it to a PDF for you. So that's how you can do scan backs without having to invest $400 or $500 into a separate scanner. Does that help?
yes, yes, thank you so much.
You bet.
And the last one I have, and you can let me know if this if this wouldn't fall into what we're talking about, I can always submit this. It's regarding I-9 forms.
Mm-hmm.
I been reached out by a company called N3 Notary, and what I wanted to know is there a way that we can go about doing I-9s ourselves without having to go through a company such as N3 Notary, is what I wanted to know.
I think that's a great question. So yes, absolutely. A lot of times the employee will reach out to you directly. So having good search engine optimization on your website that uses I-9 verbiage, and even though it doesn't have to be notarized, notary I-9, because the consumer doesn't necessarily know that. Carol, you work a lot with I-9s in a company that specializes in that. Can you shed any more light for Jeanine on what to do if she wants to specialize?
My first advice is do not work with M3. They don't pay. What did they offer you? $20?
I'm trying to think. They tried to offer me 20, but I told them 50, and then they accepted it. Now, which was shocking. I did get paid from them in one while, but they don't really have it together. And and forgive me, I don't like to talk about companies and stuff like that. But the problem that I find with N3 Notary is when you go to confirm everything through their system and everything, they claim they didn't get something when I knew I sent it to them, and it's just a big mess.
Well, they're the only company that's been around for many, many years. And I've talked to many, many of my graduates, and they've never been offered anything more than $20, and they expect them to travel a good distance. The fact that you got 50 is terrific. They're very, very easy. I will tell you, Notary to Pro, we offer that as part of our training because I've connected with a company that was looking for notaries. It's called Verify I-9. It's very easy. We do have a training that's available to people that's just for the I-9s. Barbara handles that. It's just the video training, goes through it. If anybody wants to do it, they can sign up. And then you go directly to Verify I-9. This guy's great. He's out of Georgia. And the minimum that they pay, they offer a bid. They'll say the bid is $50. You can't exceed the bid. But I have been told that if it's a distance from your home, if it's a real travel thing and you think it's worth 100 or 150, that's what you bid. And the chances are you might get that. But any way that you can get signed up with them, they're really, really good company. Verify I-9 out of Georgia.
Beautiful. I love that. And Laura, can you touch on the caveat you just mentioned in the chat as well about California for I-9s?
In California, notaries are not allowed to assist with an I-9 unless they are also bonded immigration consultant, which means you are registered with the Secretary of State and you have a $100,000 bond.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. That's just clarity for California.
Yep.
More clarity for California. Thank you, Jeanine. Those were great questions. Did you say you had one more?
Oh no, that hit it
That was
right
it?
there. I got to
All right.
get with Miss Carol because I'm one of her students.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
Okay.
Great for you, hon.
All right. Thank you so much. Peter Paletti, thank you for your patience. We want to unmute and ask your question.
Hi, how you doing, Bill?
Excellent. How are you? What's going on?
I'm okay. Hey, I was going to start with a win, but after hearing Carol talk about 8 to 10 signings a day, I'm not sure I even want to go down this route of a win. But I'll say it anyway. This is mostly for people who are just getting started. Time flies pretty fast, and I had my first signing on March the 20th, and when you were on vacation, I passed 100. So it does go by pretty fast, and you can get up there pretty fast. So I just wanted to give people that are just starting out, how am I going to get to these numbers? Just do it every single day, and it's going to come. And that's kind of what I've experienced. And I'm at, I don't know, 104, 105 right now. So I'm kind of happy with where I am at this point in time.
Congratulations, Peter. You have been working so hard for that.
Yeah, thank you very much. Now, if I can, I had two questions,
Yeah.
but I got to ask Carol this question about this 8 to 10 signings. Those people, are they doing like escrow direct, or this can't be just signing companies that they're working with, is it?
They're doing both. There's two gals that have been at this. They've been doing this for a while. And what's funny is that both of these gals they started with me about, well, one of them was 2 years ago and the other one was a year ago. Terrified. I mean, like the worst. I had to hand walk them every step of the way. And now they're out there they're making, one of them made $10,000 last month and the other one made $9,000.
Oh.
And they're just going. Anybody can do it. You just need to just do it and have confidence in yourself. But you demonstrated how quickly it can go once you get started. It's just, and if you love it, people just know it. If you're a people person and you care about them, they'll feel it. They'll know it.
Yeah.
What did you ask me? I forgot.
If I can jump in there too, it's, Peter, the system, when it starts working, one of the traps that a lot of notaries make is they stop working the system. They get volume, they get momentum, and then they back off. This is the time to double down. Continue building those relationships. Continue reaching out to new signing companies. That's how, even in Sign and Thrive, we got students that are breaking records every day. People who 2 months ago were thinking they were never going to get their first signing, and now they are. They're getting 6, 7, 8 signings a day because they stuck to it. And the important part is to keep sticking to it so that no matter what, your phone's not going to stop ringing and dinging. You've got enough variety. You've got enough variety of relationships, resources, and contacts to keep that phone going.
Yeah.
Just be sure you do it safely and legally. There's no curbside. No front door signings. No.
I've had a lot of garage signings.
That's good.
Yeah, with a lot of social distancing in between. But the other question is kind of like a follow up with this is I kind of want to transition now into some escrow direct. And I have worked directly with a couple of title companies that have local offices. But I'm thinking of going in. I have no problem walking into someone's office and introducing myself. But at the same time, is this prudent? Are they going to be receptive for someone who's might be carrying COVID? So is an alternative to that I was thinking of was maybe making a YouTube video where I'm introducing myself. They see me, they see the professionalism, and then just send them a 1-minute video of here I am. I'm a mile from your office. What have you? Is it something, an alternative to walking into someone's office, a title office? Would that be prudent to try? Does that make any sense?
I am all about creative outside the box connections. And if you have tools and resources where you can do stuff, and I use it for every time a student signs up for my course, I send them a personalized welcome video. The technology exists. It's called Bonjoro. And if you can dial into that and just send them a quick little 20-second video, then who knows if it will work or not? Do we know if they'll be responsive or not? Sometimes they don't have speakers on their work computers, so maybe they won't hear it. We don't know, but that is good outside the box thinking, and it's definitely worth a shot.
Okay. Do you have time for one more question?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Thank you for that. I just had a signing this past Friday, and it was a couple, and the husband had an expired driver's license. And I said, this is not good. Do you have anything that's not expired? And he said, no. I said, well, okay, well, I'll continue with the signing, but just so you know they may not accept this, and so I'll continue for you, but this is usually not an acceptable practice. And there were a couple documents I got started, and a couple of documents later, it actually did have on one of the pages that this is not acceptable. So I showed this to him, and he said, and the wife said, show him the other driver's license. I'm like, the other driver's license. So he legally changed his date of birth, and he had a new driver's license that was unexpired, but that's not where they got the loan. They got the loan on the old date of birth. So I went ahead with the license because it was now official. He did have an unexpired license, but I haven't heard anything. It's been 3 days now, so maybe it's okay. But I'm just wondering if you have any thoughts on, whether or not that might be bouncing back to me.
That's a great question, and I guess on the birth date, I think the lender will make the decision on that. But for your sake, as the notary, if your state does not allow you to proceed with an expired ID for notarizations, don't. It doesn't matter what the lender says. It doesn't matter that the closing agent says, yeah, go ahead, what the heck. We don't care. You have to know what your boundaries are, what the state allows you to do. That would be the best piece of advice. And then Carol, Laura, do you have anything else weird or any suggestions on how to move forward on that or change anything on that?
That's one of the important laws you need to know of your own state. Where are you located, Peter?
Illinois.
Yeah, you need to check with your state, Secretary of State.
Okay. I don't know offhand if it's accepted or not.
Yeah, double check that. And then there might be an executive order too that has some variance right now because of COVID. Laura, did you have anything? I saw your mouth moving, but I think you're on mute. She's good?
Yeah, I'm on mute.
Oh, okay.
I'm on mute because my washer's going and it's kind of loud. So I was trying to keep it quiet. Peter, what I was going to say is I'm looking up the Illinois requirement, and I just want to make sure I understand what the issue was. Is that the guy has another driver's license, same guy, same name, same number?
Different number.
Different number.
Yep.
And the only difference was really the date of birth.
Right.
That's the one you use because that is his valid ID now. Because you're notarizing. So you're trying to prove he's the right guy that signed it. And the date of birth isn't what proves it. What proves it is his name, right? We're comparing the name to what it is in the document. And the date of birth isn't one of our qualifiers. It's additional information that's in that I might utilize if I have concerns about it. Now I'm just talking about notary work, notarizing, not the fact that it happens to be on real estate document. And so if my state allowed me to use the other card, even though it was expired, because there are states that do not use the word current or valid, right? So if your state is one of those, then you could have stayed with the card that was used that matched the documentation. If your state says it has to be current or valid, then you would not be able to use that, but you could use the newer one. And I would have just flagged it to the lender to say, hey, as a notary, this is what I can do. I don't know if you need to make a correction or how that impacts the documents.
Yeah.
In the meantime, while we're working here, I'm just going to look up ID for Illinois.
Great.
So everybody should have their.
I think we'll come back to that if that's all right, Laura.
Yeah, we'll come back to
that. Peter, and we'll come back. She'll come back
Sure.
to that. Carol, just judging by the chat conversation, Carol, I think we need to talk about curbside signings. and what the challenges are. First of all, defining them maybe just for clarity's sake, and then also talking about what the challenges and the risks are.
Well, it's very simple. It comes down to the law. We are required to witness the signature of the signers before we notarize them. We have to be in their presence. There's no two ways around it. They have to witness us signing and stamping our acknowledgments, our jurats. There's no two ways around it. You can't leave documents sitting on somebody's porch, let them take them inside where they sign them out of our witnessing area, and vice versa. So you have to find another way to do it. And a good way is if they have a patio, if you can sit 6 feet apart, if you wear your masks, you take all of the precautions that are out there. I don't need to repeat what they are, but the notaries have no idea. I've heard of people just doing awful things. And the curbside, I mean, that's ridiculous. And the lenders are expecting us to do that. They're giving assignments to, I know, my students, and I'm telling them, don't. You're going to have to find another way, or don't do it. Don't work. Don't put yourself in jeopardy or anybody else, and stay legal. It's that simple.
This is a really good example of how the lenders and the title companies will push you to do something that is illegal. They're not thinking, oh, this is illegal, I'm going to get them to do something bad. You know, they're just trying to be safe for their customers, but it just happens to be illegal in most states. I hesitate to say all states because I don't know for sure, but in most states, the jurat especially you have to be there. You have to witness the signature. Now, if you can find a creative way that, I know people do it through the window and they're watching, so that makes them feel safer. That's still, you know, where it's a slippery slope. But if you're just dropping documents and then they're going in and they're signing everything and then you're taking them somewhere and you're doing your stamp, that's, Laura, would it be safe to say that's illegal in most states?
It's illegal to perform a notarization when you're not in the presence of your signer. Whether it's an acknowledgement or jurat, it's the same issue, because it's about either they signed in front of me or they personally appeared in front of me. That's your language that you'll find in those certificates. And so it's one thing to go to the curbside and stand there at your car and do it on the hood of the car. You're both there. That's fine if that's what they're asking you to do. But if they're asking you to leave the document so that they can sign inside and you'll sit outside or come back later, that is not okay.
Excellent. I hope that adds some clarity to what those are. And remember, you will have lenders that say it's okay. You will have title companies that say it's okay. You need to know that it's not okay.
It's amazing how many people in this country, especially people that are in this industry, don't have a clue as to what notaries do and what their responsibilities are. Isn't that true?
Yeah, they think we're rubber stampers.
Yeah. It's like,
so we have to remind them we're not.
Exactly. Remember where that liability falls, guys. If you do a curbside signing and you do it because the lender said so, and you didn't witness the signatures, and there's some sort of fraud being perpetrated there, the lender's not responsible. You are. You're the one that notarized that document. You can say, well, the lender told me I could just drop the documents off. That's not in their purview. It is your responsibility to notarize correctly. All right, great. I'm glad we got that clear. Thank you, Carol. Thank you, Laura, for adding some of that. Let's get through these questions, guys. We only have about 11 more minutes left. iPhoneLina, thank you for your patience. You want to unmute and ask your question. iPhone, oh, there she goes.
Hi.
Hi there. How can we help?
Hi. I had a signing yesterday, and it was my first time that I had had an attorney in fact type of signing.
Great.
So my question is, because the title was questioning on the acknowledgement, it had the two signers that were present, and one of those signers that were present were also the attorney in fact for the signer that was not there.
Nina, what state are you in first?
I am in California.
Awesome. So your question is?
They had said I needed to cross off the attorney in fact person who they were representing. So I was just questioning that because it's specified John Smith as attorney in fact for
Right. For Lisa Smith.
Lisa Smith. Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I'd like
Exactly.
to address that if I may.
Absolutely. Please do, Carol.
I deal with this all the time, almost daily, attorney in fact. Well, first of all, I don't know about other states. You need to check with your state. You're in California. I know for sure that we don't do capacity on any of our acknowledgements or jurats. So what you would do, since you're only identifying one person, doesn't matter whether they're acting as an attorney in fact, you're identifying that person who is signing as the attorney in fact for someone else. So on your acknowledgements or jurats, you're only going to have the name of the person who is appearing before you, whose identity you have verified, and no attorney in fact after it. Other states will have capacity which allows them to say, I did John Doe as the attorney in fact for X person. But in California, you can't do that. Right, Laura?
That's exactly right. And 49 other states you can. Some of those states, about a dozen or more, have some requirement of proof. So some states don't require you to prove they have that capacity, meaning you see the power of attorney document, and some, most do not. So depending on your state, you need to know when they're signing in representative capacity. And that could be attorney in fact, that could be vice president of a company, that could be trustee. If your state requires proof, then they have to show you the proof before you can notarize the document.
Okay, yeah, I did see the power of attorney.
That doesn't help you in California.
California.
Yes, I am here in California.
Right, so it doesn't help you because we're just not allowed.
Okay.
And
so I was,
oh, I'm sorry.
my question was on the acknowledgement then, so it was correct to cross off the name of the person that is not present?
Only in the certificate.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Also, I'd like to add one other thing. We don't really have to worry about if you're getting signings direct from title and it contains a power of attorney in there. Even if you don't get a copy of it, it doesn't matter. The title company has validated that attorney in fact, that they take care of that. We don't have to validate that document.
Okay.
Right, but if
yeah,
you're in a state,
they had just brought it with, they had brought it with them, also a copy that they had had. So just to make sure, so I was just wanting to also verify, I wrote down whatever information I could, but in my additional comments. But regardless, I was just confused about the actual certificate because they said I needed to cross off Lisa Smith's name because they were not present.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you want to, if you have a certificate that says appeared before me, we have to take responsibility and make sure that there's clarity that that person was not actually appearing before me. So it has to be super clear on that one. So it looks like you got good advice.
Okay.
Thanks,
you.
Lena. All right, Yessenia, thank you for your patience. You want to unmute and ask your question? There she goes.
Am I there? Okay. Thank you. Buenas tardes, everybody.
Thank you. How's it going? How can we help?
Okay. I did write in the chat directly to you just in case we get disconnected. It seems to be iffy, my internet. So here's my question. A female divorced, okay, no longer has any form of ID with her previous married name, okay, has to get a quit claim form done. And the quit claim form has the name that was on the deed, which was her previous married name. So how do I handle the ID part? Now, she did have a copy of the divorce decree, but that's about it besides her military ID and her California ID. that has her, the current name. How should that be handled?
So, Laura, I'm going to pass this to you because Yessenia is in California. You're in California. Do you
And
guys
I
allow
was-
backup
Yeah, I was just
documentation?
checking. I was checking the chat for some responding to something. I didn't catch what the problem was. It's her maiden name versus married name. Was
So
that the problem?
the document has her married name. She's divorced and no longer has an ID that shows that name.
If she cannot produce an ID that shows that name, credible witness is name of the game.
Okay, that's the only option, right? Or
That's it.
or they get the quick claim revised with her current name.
Yeah, but that's
Correct.
probably not going to happen because it
Probably
was
won't
already
happen.
vested the other way.
Okay,
So
That-
credible witness is going to be the only path.
okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
No problem. All right. Guys, I'm going to pause real quick because Matt Miller's on the line and he has an update for our California notaries. Matt, are you available to give us a quick update on AB 1850?
Sure, Bill. Just wanted to reach out and let everyone know that the bill has moved. It is now located in the Senate Committee for Labor, Public Employment, and Retirement Committee. And I do not have a set hearing date yet, but when we get one, I'm going to send out a letter or a blast to everyone, letting you know when the hearing is, how to send your letter of position to the committee, and who to send it to exactly, and when you have to do that by, and all the details. So the bill is moving. We need to stay on top of this, and I intend to keep everyone up to date as much as I can. Anybody has any questions, you can feel free to post them in the chat for the last 2 minutes, or email me at matt@mmmobilenotary.net. Thanks.
Matt,
Bill.
please remind people what that bill is about.
Oh, yes. So for those who aren't familiar with the bill, AB 1850 is a piggyback bill to last year's AB 5, which is an employment classification bill that is forcing gig workers like Uber and Lyft and other industries now to become employees of their hiring companies versus remaining as independent contractors. Now we have, there's been some exemptions handed out. The closest one to our industry is real estate appraisers. So we, all the notaries and the NNA alike and signing companies, we're all pushing to get an exemption for independent signing agents as well, because this could really get very messy for not only the notaries, but the hiring companies as well. So we want to stay exempt.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that, Matt. And I look forward. And if I can help spread the word on that, please let me know. Okay.
You bet.
Yeah, Matt, I want to get a copy of that. I'm going to send it out. We've got 7,000 people in our database.
Fantastic. I'll send over what I have today.
Thank you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
All right, guys, we have a couple more minutes. And then after we do the questions, we'll give away some of the Sign and Thrive books. Guys, Elliot Robertson, it looks like you might be our last question today, depending on the question. Do you have go ahead?
Yeah, I'll be very quick, and I appreciate it. Thanks, Bill. Thanks for your Bonjour message.
Sure.
I do want to talk to you as soon as we're able to do that. But just real quick, I'm in the process of going through my e-notary commission, and I have to make a decision on electronic notary solution provider. And I can't seem to get information either from the Secretary of State or from some of these companies that have been designated those that I can use as a provider. For instance, Notarize, they say you have to use a certain platform, and I'm concerned that I'll be locked in if I say I'm going to be with Notarize. I don't know a whole lot about this process, but I'm trying to find out if it suggestions on maybe a provider that I can use with different companies. And I can't find a number for Notarize, Pavaso, all these companies. It just has the website, and I can't get answers to the questions. So I don't know if anybody can help me with that, but.
What you're running into is a very common problem right now. And I hope somebody can post some comments in the chat. But just to clarify, Elliot, I think you're talking not about e-notary, but you're talking about remote online notarization, correct?
Exactly.
And what state are you in?
I'm in Nevada.
In Nevada. Okay, great. I think we have quite a few people from Nevada on here. Bill Bumfries, as Laura just put, he is kind of leading the way in Nevada right now as far as the RON goes, but he's using Doc Verify. I'll tell you that right now. And that is one of the only ones that is remotely responsive. Some of the other ones, I don't know if Signix is approved there in Nevada or not, but they've been really great from a customer service perspective. But I really, Elliot, if you reach out to me and just send me a text message, I'll put you in touch with Bill and he can help you out at least he has the state knowledge to help you. But
Okay.
this is very common, guys. There's not a whole lot of information out yet. And the training is, the NNA has a great overview course on how RON works if you want to take that. But when it gets to the nitty gritty, the state rules are your responsibility, and it's hard to find good training on their state specific rules. On top of that, each individual platform is its own animal, and they have training sometimes that is less than a stellar right now. So I trust, though, guys, I have great news from lots of people who are tapping into this time to be in the industry. It is ripe for innovation, ripe for people who take the initiative and create these things. There are people creating training courses right now. So we'll have some resources for you soon.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for being here. Okay, guys, we're past 1 o'clock Pacific. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Carol, thank you so much for being here. Great to have you back. Laura, great to be back with you as well. And thank you to everybody who's on the call and taking some time out to grow yourself and your business on a Tuesday. For those that want to hang out, we're going to give away some prizes right now. So the link to do so, if you haven't yet, is in the chat window again. All you have to do is give your name and an email address. I'm going to pull that up right now, and I'm just going to randomly select people. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to give away a few of the Sign and Thrive books. I'll sign it. I'll even inscribe it for you. I just have to write it down here so I know who the winners are this time. I always forget that part. Maybe we'll give away a couple of other things as well. So right now we've got 92 people on the list. 92. All right, bear with me 1 second. The first winner is number 45, the 45th person to sign up, and that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Felicia McGee. Felicia McGee, congratulations. You just won a paperback copy of the Sign and Thrive book. Thank you so much for being here, and I'll get that out to you. I'll reach out and get your address. But if you want to be proactive, you can send me an email at orders@notarycoach.com with your shipping address, and I'll get that out to you. All right, let's see what else we got here. Now we've got 113 people signed up. Okay, so number 109, bear with me 1 second. Got to go all the way to the end. Okay, so. All right, Kim Flanagan. All right, Kim in California. Congratulations. Thank you for being here. It'll be an honor to send you a signed copy of the book as well. All right, let's see what else we got here. Let's see, now we got 117, number 36. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, Christiana Diamond. Christiana Diamond, congratulations. You just won a copy of the Sign and Thrive book. Thank you for being here. I'll get that out to you if you want to send me an email to orders@notarycoach.com. Laura, what do you think? You want to do an LBP giveaway today?
We can do one.
All right, let's do a LBP. Guys, this is for the Laura Biewer Presents. This is for general notary work, ultimate training, like having a notary expert like Laura in your pocket anytime, day or night. All right, let's see what we got here. So we're going to go with number 17. The 17th person to sign up today was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dawn Triplett. Dawn Triplett. Congratulations, you just won lifetime access to the Laura Biewer Presents library. So if you want to send me an email to orders@notarycoach.com, I'll get that granted out to you as soon as possible. All right, guys, what else we got today?
Carol's got her hand up.
Oh, good. Carol, how's it going? What are you feeling?
I'm feeling like giving away a course today.
All right. What are we doing? A full Notary to Pro?
Everything. Mentoring the whole bit.
Ah, love it. So full Notary to Pro package, mentoring the whole shebang. All right, let's see what we got here. Number 67. Bear with me 1 second.
Actually, they're not already students.
All right, we got Sonia Mayorga. Sonia
Mayorga.
You are the winner of the Notary to Pro course. If you send an email to Carol, how can she get a hold of you?
Well, let me give her the phone number.
Great.
916-777-5931. And I will let my girls know that you'll be calling.
All right, wonderful. Guys, thank you so much. Carol, thank you so much for that. Laura, thank you for your generosity. And guys, thanks again for hanging in there with us. We have missed you, and we're glad to be back. You guys have a great week, and we'll be back same place, same time.
Stay safe.
All right.